What's going on, everybody? Devil's Advocate here. All right, so as you can see, I'm changing around my environment a little bit. I'm working on it, okay? It's a slow process. It's hard to believe I've only been at this for 5 weeks. Like, I feel like I've been doing this forever. Maybe it's because I've spent so much time on it. But I already knew going into this was going to be a lot of trial and error. But anyways, enough of that, right? Enough of that. I want to get into this vice presidential debate. I want to talk about that real quick. It's been beaten to death. I know it's been beaten to death. So as usual, when I approach this topic, I don't want to do like a recap or a play-by-play. I want to do an overall thought process from beginning to end. Like, you know, what's the energy, right? I think it was revealing that we were put in a situation where the American people were able to sit down and watch two people have a debate without cutting each other off too much. And I had to be honest. It was more balanced than I thought it was going to be. Granted, I believe that the questions were tailored to be more beneficial for Harris. Overall, it was not bad. So the thing that I started realizing real quick is that I hope that everybody saw what I was able to see, regardless of what your political bias is. And I was like, okay, so hopefully if people are focusing on what's actually being said, are they going to focus on what's being delivered, or are they going to start making excuses for people? That's going to be the telling sign. And in true fashion, there were a couple of people that were like, okay, Harris lost that debate straight up. And then you get the group of people that as soon as I saw, right? So here we go. I gotta toss it out there because it's the elephant in the room, right? As soon as I saw the fly flying around and land on Pence's head, the first thing that went through my mind was, oh no. Because I knew that there was that margin of the population out there that's all that they were waiting for. That's all they were going to care about. That was going to be front and center. Everything else in that debate was going to become null and void because all they had was their pettiness, right? That goes all the way back to the pettiness. I was like, all right, that's it. They've got their petty ammunition. And that's their talking point. Everything else is irrelevant after that, right? And lo and behold, as in true fashion, fly swatters and all kinds of memes and stuff, I knew it was going to happen. But luckily, the powerful debate that he delivered didn't go completely unnoticed, right? It did go noticed by a lot of people, which is why I started realizing, okay, if people just start focusing on that fly situation, which, you know, I don't know how he didn't feel that, then I was like, okay, they have nothing else to say. But I wanted people to understand what more important than Pence's argument was. I was like, I hope that people are starting to see that Kamala Harris has nothing to say. Absolutely nothing. Her entire argument was nothing but deflection and blatant lies. I'm not even talking about, like, you know, speaking in half truths. Deflection and lies, deflection and lies. It was like, oh, whoa, Pence did the same thing. No, actually what Pence was doing, he might have deflected once or twice, but mainly what he would do was he would use his time on a different topic to go back and finish his thought on a previous topic. That's what he was doing. And then he would go in there and, he might do like a roundabout answer on something. But I'll tell you what I thought was very respectful. What the thing that I respected Pence a lot about was he gets attacked a lot on his pro-life perspective, right? He didn't apologize for it. That takes balls. That takes balls, because what do a lot of politicians like to do? They like to be wishy-washy, right? They like to wishy-washy and then flip-flop based on what they think is going to get them, the most votes in that particular time. He's like, I'm not doing it. So that's where I can respect people who are firm in their stance on a position, even if I don't necessarily agree with it, right? Because I'm pro-choice to a degree. I'll throw that out there. But the fact that he's pro-life, I'm not going to look at him differently because of that. I respect him because he knows that that's probably going to be turn off for people, but he's going to stand by his opinion and his perspective. And that speaks volumes on its own. That means where this individual stands at. Unlike Kamala Harris, where you don't know where she stands at. She's all over the place, right? Which, that brings me to my next point. She doesn't really stand for anything. And I was like, okay, so when she started, I understood when she was really starting to lose her debate, when she started pulling the race card, right? She started going, I was like, oh God, here we go. Here we go. What do you usually do? What are they always doing? They're trying to pull at the emotional heartstrings of the public by pulling the race card. And unfortunately, that's all they know how to do. They spent so much time trying to finger point the Trump administration that they haven't spent much time developing their own game plan if they were to win. Is that fair to say? If that's unfair, let me know in the comments below. So when he asked the question whether or not they were going to plan on packing the court, and she wouldn't answer the question, I was hoping when she refused to answer the question that the American everybody on both sides saw how dangerous that was. And I'm like, if you don't know what packing the court means, let me briefly explain it to you. It means adding more justices to the court to offset the balance so that you can do whatever you want. You can pass whatever you want. The Democrats would be in total power. So let me make something clear. If they make it into office, they want to try to pack the court. If Donald Trump is reelected, they want to try to pack the court. So if Donald Trump is reelected and they try to pack the court, at least there's some type of balance there. But if a Biden administration makes it in, they're gonna do that anyways, regardless. And then they would have put themselves in a position of political power where there is absolutely no balance anymore. That's what they're trying to explain to you. No balance. Everything is going to be a Democratic driven agenda. Corruption. So I'm not saying there's not corruption now, but what I'm saying is there will be nothing. There will be no checks and balances in place anymore. And that is what I was fearful of from the very beginning. When I made my very first video, when I said, if a Biden administration is ushered into power, your way of life as you know it will never be the same again. And, well, okay, for at least 4 years. But yeah, not to drag this out too much. Good debate. But I was hoping that people were educated enough and knew enough about history and knew enough about the past of Biden and Harris to realize that when she was sitting up there just blatantly lying or deflecting. I'm like, okay, I hope everybody sees this, that she's not answering any damn questions at all. But we'll see. We shall see. But I think that the whole focusing on the fact that a fly landed on his head, I was like, oh my God, how did this dude not feel this? I know, I can feel it. I felt it for him. But I was like, how would I be able to spin this? I'm like, he's a prior service member. What you witnessed, ladies and gentlemen, is impeccable military bearing. That's what you witnessed. He felt that fly, but he was not gonna let that waver him in his response. He needed to stand fast and keep that mission moving along. Kind of remind me of a uniform inspection that I experienced when I was in Quantico. We're all standing in formation, and I'll never forget, there was a third class petty officer who was standing next to me, in a bee flying around, landed right on his nose, crawled in his nose, crawled back out, and flew away. That man did not move. He stood at attention, and I'm sitting there watching that. I'm like, how in God's name did he not freak out? I would have lost my shit, but he didn't. He got a Bravo Zulu from, because it happened to be our command CMC that was coming by when it was, and he saw, and he was like, he gave that dude a 96 for that. For those who don't know, that's like 4 days off from work. He gave him a 96, 4 days off from work for impeccable military bearing. But anyways, that's it. I'm done. I just want to throw that out there and shoot a little quick video testing this new format or whatever. Like I said, I'm evolving, trying to get better at this. I got all this camera equipment here. I don't even know where to start. I need new software. I need to figure, I got like 3 microphones, 4 cameras. I don't know what the hell I'm doing anymore, but I'll figure it out. Be safe. Over and out.